Sandip Agarwal, who's been tracking this sector for a long time. Sandip, hi, good to be speaking with you. Thanks for making time. What's your sense? Anything material that one should actually look at the IT sector positively, or is it just a one-day move?
Yeah, thanks and good afternoon. Thanks for having me on the show. So, there are two ways to look at it. One is the expectation of very high spurt in growth suddenly. I think that I don't think anyone has. But you also have to look at in this perspective that, this sector has undergone both time and absolute price correction for last 1.5, 2 years. When, COVID started receding, the attrition rate was the first one to hit the sector very hard, because with the very substantial jump in attrition rate, what happened was margin has come down substantially, and since then the sector has not done well. I think now the attrition rates are under control. Margin should expand because margin is a direct factor of where your attrition is, utilization is. So I think the revenue growth I don't see will pick up very substantially immediately, because if at all the ECB rate cut has happened now in US also, we are expecting some cool off to happen on the rate front. And if all those things play out, then revenue growth will pick up with a lag effect. So I think at least we are 2 quarters away from where the growth rates will pick up, but the margin should start expanding. We saw some bit in the last quarter numbers also, and I think further expansion will happen in the current quarter, and it will further accelerate with in the upcoming quarters, because with attrition falling, the cost will come down. So I think the sector, when it went down with a higher attrition and lower margins. When the sector is coming back also, it will come back with lower attrition, higher margin, and then revenue growth will follow. So that is the way I look at it. Also remember that the customer markets have done phenomenally well. If you see the NASDAQ, it is up 70% in 1 year. And in a way that, we are definitely related to them. So if they are doing well, the follow-on growth will come for us also. That is the way we look at the sector.
Okay, point taken. But this is an argument you've been making for a while, right, Sandeep, that the margins are expected to improve. We did see a part of it, to be honest, in some of the earlier quarters. But with growth not coming back, the operating leverage continues to be a miss. And that's the problem. And even 2 quarters down the line, there's nobody who's committal about recovery. And even if you go by the client spend and the global numbers coming in, from the commentary coming in from global clients, it's not suggesting a recovery yet.
No, you are absolutely right. So this is not a sector where you will see very high growth immediately. And remember that the kinds of, TCS, Infosys, all these big names, you should always build in a 8-9% revenue CAGR over a long term. There will be years when they will do 13-14%, and then there will be years when they will do 4-5%. So I believe that you should not build more than 8-9% for the large cap, and some margin improvement because of operating leverage. So it will lead to 12-13% EPS growth. But remember, these are cash generating companies with very high dividend distribution and buybacks. So the multiples will always be closer to 2 times price earning growth. So I think that is where the rationale is. In the mid cap and small cap, you will see 4-5% higher growth and almost double EPS growth than revenue growth. But at the same time, the price earning growth ratios will be also 2, so they are trading at 30-35 times. So I think that is the new norm with which we have to live. If you think that the stocks can double or triple, I don't think that is the case. These are stable 15-16% compounding stories in terms of stock returns, and not more. Right. If that compounding doesn't happen for a year, then it will come back as a bundled one in sure. Some other year.
Sandeep, just wait on us with us, because on the political front we do have TDP chief N. Chandrababu Naidu talking. So let's go across and listen in to that all important NDA meeting.
We know the election. We have won historic elections. If you see 95% seats we have won in Andhra Pradesh. That is a big victory. I have seen so many elections. He is the first of its kind. That is the confidence people are having on NDA. And all leaders, my friend Pawan Kalyanji is here, Janasena leader. Janasena, Telugu Desam Party, and also BJP, we worked together without having any reservations. Here, State President Purandeshwari also is here. All leaders, we worked very well. That is the results we got it. I'm very happy to share some of my ideas with you. This is the proudest moment in my life. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's the latest coming in from the NDA meet. Of course, it was Mr. Chandrababu Naidu speaking, and we're expecting perhaps the JTU chief also to talk shortly, and we'll cut across to that as well. And then, of course, the Prime Minister candidate per se, who's perhaps likely to take oath on June 9th. That's the latest that we are hearing at 6 p.m. is also going to speak. But we'll keep tracking that. In the meantime, coming back to a conversation with Sandip. Sandip, within the scenario that you talked about, the margin plays and the fact that the multiples are still around 30-35 times, where do you see value then within the sector? Because today it's the mid-cap IT which is doing a lot better. Even, of course, the Wipro sector is reacting to that order inflow. But if you had to take 3 top bets within the IT sector, which names come to mind?
So I will say that, we are in a situation where we should prefer large caps right now, because large caps have been able to train people at a faster pace than the mid cap and small cap in the AI. And, we have always seen when the cycle starts, large caps suffer, and then, large caps recover also faster. And this time will be no different. So I would propose, likes of Tech Mahindra, HCL, where the valuation comforts, and now even, Infosys and TCS, because valuation comfort is very good. And, once I think large cap will do better than mid cap, small caps. Although mid caps have also corrected quite reasonably from the peak, but I would still prefer large cap. And with a gap of 2-3 quarters, when we see growth coming back, I think we will take a relook at the mid caps. I think mid caps will have 1 or 2 challenging quarter compared to large cap. That is the way I look at the sector.
Okay, Sandip, thanks so much for making time and speaking with us today. Appreciate you making time.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.